I'm going to tell you right now who's at fault in this Lindsay Clancy case. It's not Lindsay. And it's not her husband, Patrick. No, actually, the two of them are both pointing towards some other perpetrator, and nobody's talking about this. Social media wants to turn this case into some kind of gender war, and that's a distraction. Lindsay and Patrick are not at odds with each other. They both understand what the real cause of this tragedy was, and who the real enemy is. First of all, I want to clarify a few important details about this case, because there are a lot of people who don't understand what this trial is about. The prosecution is not trying to prove that Lindsay did it, and then the defense is saying, no, she's innocent, and it was Patrick who did it. No, that's not the situation here. Instead, the defense is not disputing that she did the deed. Lindsay has pled not guilty with a lack of criminal responsibility, also known as not guilty by way of insanity. Lindsay and her team are admitting that she did it, but she did not have the capacity to understand the wrongfulness of what she was doing because she was in a postpartum psychosis. The prosecution is trying to assert that she wasn't in a psychosis, that she knew what she was doing, and that it was a premeditated and calculated act. So in the end, the best case scenario here for Lindsay is a not guilty verdict where she is still regarded as the one who did the act, but instead of going to prison, she goes to a mental hospital. Now here's the thing that nobody is talking about. Did you know that Patrick is seemingly on her side? His own words and actions suggest that he agrees with Lindsay, that he does think she was in a psychosis and shouldn't be found guilty. According to this article from Yahoo, Patrick Clancy once told reporters, "I wasn't married to a monster. I was married to someone who got sick." In a GoFundMe started by Patrick only days after the children were gone, he wrote, "The real Lindsay was generously loving and caring. All I wish for her now is that she can somehow find peace." We haven't seen him demanding that she face justice, that she go to prison, or that she gets the death penalty or anything like that. In fact, both Lindsay and Patrick have filed lawsuits demanding that some other parties be held responsible for what happened. So who is that? Who do they blame for what happened, and why isn't anybody talking about this? This article from Court TV states that Lindsay filed a civil lawsuit against two medical providers, Dr. Jennifer Tufts and nurse practitioner Rebecca Jolata, as well as the medical centers that employ them and two other hospitals. Lindsay's lawsuit alleges a list of failures by mental health professionals to correctly respond to her symptoms. Now, Patrick filed a similar lawsuit against these same defendants. Both lawsuits allege that in October 2022, Lindsay first sought treatment from Dr. Tufts, who found that she exhibited signs of severe depression, and so she prescribed an antidepressant. Shortly after taking the drug, Lindsay had some kind of severe reaction to it, and so the doctor prescribed her another drug. What followed was months of visiting multiple providers and hospitals and being prescribed a cocktail of drugs, antidepressants, antipsychotics, and mood stabilizers. Lindsay's lawsuit states that these drugs caused her mental health to take, and I'm quoting, "a dramatic turn for the worse." Lindsay reported to her doctors, her husband, and her parents that she was experiencing suicidal ideation and what she described as intrusive thoughts or auditory hallucinations. And eventually, we all know that on the night of that tragic incident, Lindsay sent Patrick off on an errand, and while he was gone, she committed the crime. The prosecution is claiming that this was a premeditated act, that she planned this all out. She even looked it up on her phone and looked up how long it would take for Patrick to return because she wanted to make sure that she would have enough time to execute her plan. Lindsay's lawsuit, on the other hand, states that she had actually searched a map of how long the errand would take because she was scared to be alone for too long. And as soon as she left the house, Lindsay says she heard a loud, demanding, repetitious voice telling her to do what she did. Now, I can't read to you what it is that she claims to have heard. You can check it out in that article if you want. But I can tell you it's incredibly disturbing, the voices she says she was hearing. According to the lawsuit, Lindsay says she lost all control. "My body started acting without any control on my part. I was just following commands. All action. This voice demanded action." So she claims that somebody else, some entity, took control of her body. What does that sound like to you? And why isn't anybody talking about this? Why did that happen to her? In this article from CNN, it says that a note was found on Lindsay Clancy's cell phone, and it read, "Medication stole my motherhood and my life. I was the healthiest, happiest mom. I worked out every morning, meditated, and took care of myself so I could be the best for my kids until prescription medication stole me from my own body." Damn. So I think we're finally starting to understand now Patrick and Lindsay's view of this tragedy. The prosecution, however, they don't believe her. They don't think she was in a psychosis. They think she knew what she was doing. Personally, I don't agree with the prosecution. I think the defense has done a good job of proving that she was in a psychosis, that she did not, in fact, have the capacity to understand the wrongfulness of her actions. This article talks about how the defense just called a forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Philip Resnick, who consulted on several high-profile criminal cases such as Jeffrey Dahmer and Andrea Yates, and he testified yesterday that Lindsay was experiencing postpartum psychosis. Resnick said that Lindsay did have command hallucinations that told her to do what she did. He said the psychotic break caused Lindsay to feel removed from her body and a lack of control over her actions. The defense also called upon Sheila Kavanaugh, a chaplain at Brigham and Women's Hospital, where Lindsay was hospitalized after the tragedy. In her testimony, and this is wild, she stated that Lindsay alluded to hearing a voice, and the voice told her that if she did not follow the commands, neither she nor her children would be safe. So in Lindsay's mind, she believed that her family was in danger, and the only way to ensure that they would be safe was to commit this terrible act. The chaplain talked about how one of the first things Lindsay said to her after the incident, the first time Lindsay was able to speak after a breathing tube was removed, Lindsay said, "I'm so glad my children are safe." That is not a person who was in her right mind and understood what she was doing. I agree with Lindsay and Patrick Clancy. I think Lindsay was right when she said, "Medication stole my motherhood and my life." Now, to be clear about my stance on this, I think that if the jury found her not guilty and wanted to send her to a mental hospital that could maybe take better care of her than a prison cell, okay, I'm fine with that. I just don't think she should ever see freedom again. Not after what she did. Wherever they put her, she should never be let free because at this point, unfortunately, she is a danger to everyone around her. So with all that being said, folks, thanks for watching. This was a hard video to make. I am a relationship coach. I had no intention of making this video. I'm not a true crime expert. But I just kept seeing how nobody was telling the truth about what really happened here, and I couldn't let that slide. So thanks again. Have a good one. Follow for more.